When I bought my property, the old windmill was already there. It wasn't decoration. It powered the water pumps that kept my landing for decades. Then my HOA decided the windmill was an eyesore.
The windmill looked old, but it was incredibly reliable. When the wind turned the blades, the pump moved water underground. It required almost no electricity. For me, it was part of the property's history and infrastructure. Evelyn, the HOA president, hated the windmill. She said it ruined the neighborhood's appearance. I told her it was completely inside my property boundary. She said that didn't matter. According to Evelyn, HOA rules required every visible structure to meet community standards. I asked her to show me the rule covering private agricultural equipment. She couldn't find one, but she still demanded that I remove the windmill. That night, I checked everything. The windmill was listed in the property's historical improvement records. The pump system was connected to my private irrigation network. There was nothing giving the HOA authority over it. The original survey made things even clearer. The entire windmill structure sat inside my parcel. The irrigation system connected directly to my private water infrastructure. It wasn't a community facility. Evelyn took the issue to the HOA board. She described my windmill as an unauthorized industrial structure. She claimed it threatened property values. The board voted to demand its removal. A few days later, Evelyn arrived with a violation notice. It gave me a deadline to remove the windmill. I calmly explained that the windmill powered my private pumps. She told me I could install a different system. Replacing the system wasn't as simple as buying a new pump. The windmill was integrated into an underground irrigation network. It supplied water to several critical pumps. Removing it without planning could shut everything down. I asked Frank, my longtime mechanic, to inspect the system. He had maintained that windmill for years. He told me the structure was still perfectly functional. Then he warned me about one thing. Frank said the windmill wasn't just pumping water. It also stabilized the pressure feeding several irrigation pumps. If someone removed it suddenly, the system could lose pressure. That could stop multiple pumps at once. I thought the HOA would eventually back off. Instead, Evelyn hired a contractor. She told him the windmill had to come down. I immediately told them they had no permission. Rick said he was only following the HOA's instructions. I told him the property was private. Evelyn insisted the HOA had authority over exterior structures. I warned them not to touch the equipment. Evelyn wasn't interested in another argument. She made a phone call and told Rick to proceed. I watched trucks arrive near my property. That's when I realized she was serious. The next morning, heavy equipment showed up. Nobody had asked me for permission. Nobody had contacted the utility company. They simply started preparing to cut down the windmill. I showed Rick the deed and survey. He looked uncomfortable. Evelyn told him not to listen to me. She said the HOA had already approved the work. I made one final warning. I told them the windmill was connected to the irrigation system. Evelyn laughed and called it an old decorative machine. Then Rick started the excavator. The excavator's engine roared across the property. The windmill blades slowly turned in the breeze. Rick positioned the bucket against the support structure. I knew something was about to go very wrong. The first impact shook the entire structure. Metal screamed as the support frame bent. The old windmill began collapsing. Evelyn's confident expression suddenly disappeared. The windmill crashed into the dirt. The blades shattered against the ground. Dust and metal fragments filled the air. And underneath the wreckage, the irrigation system started losing pressure.